400 PM BSTESPN rounds up all the reaction from up and down the Suzuka paddock following qualifying for the 2017 Japanese Grand Prix. Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton: First, I've been coming here for so long, but it's my first pole here at Suzuka. It was definitely worth the wait. I didn't make one mistake all session and just kept getting better and better. We built the foundation in Q1 and then just built upon it as qualifying developed. I've been waiting all weekend for that moment, for that lap in Q3, and it feels so good when that comes together. It's incredible to come here with this car and drive on this track. It's always been one of the greatest, but with this car, it's mind-blowing. I wish everyone could feel what we feel. It's always been a crazy roller coaster ride, but with the downforce on these cars, it's insane. The way you can throw the car around, I love that. We know how quick the Ferraris were in Malaysia, so it'll be interesting to see how we compare. We've put ourselves in the right position to get the job done on Sunday. I don't know if people watching realize how much effort goes into qualifying, but the team worked perfectly to get me out at the right time, into space on track, and allow me to do what I needed to do. I'm so grateful for that. They did a great job. I hope I can capitalize on that tomorrow. Sutton Image. Valtteri Bottas, second, will start sixth. It was a tricky day. I had a bit of an off in FP3 and the car was damaged. But the guys did a great job getting the car back together. Everything worked perfectly. It's been a few tough races. I've been off the pace quite a lot. So now I'm at least a bit closer, and with the limited running we had today, it really wasn't too bad. But it's a shame to lose the position due to a grid penalty. The car has been feeling really different this weekend compared to last week. I was able to trust it more and drive a bit more naturally, which always makes the result better. I should never lose self-confidence. It's the key in this sport. I just need to carry on, keep chipping away and learning from everything. I'm going to start on the soft tire, so I think we have a chance to try a different strategy to all the other cars around. So hopefully we can gain a few places, as overtaking is very difficult on this track. Toto Wolff, head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport: the car has been performing well all day. The combination of track surface, layout and temperatures is suiting us much better than a week ago in Sepang. The swings of performance we have seen this season prove that this is a complicated science for each of the teams, and that small factors make a big difference to the final result. Today's result brings us another piece of the puzzle to help our understanding. As for the performance this afternoon, Lewis was untouchable today. He just built up the performance level lap by lap and improved with every run. It was a day that shows why he is one of the best of all time. On the other side of the garage, Valtteri did everything he needed to. He will start on the soft tire, which will open up alternative strategies for him tomorrow, and delivered a very strong performance in Q3, finding time on each lap. Overall, a great starting point for tomorrow's race. But the hard work is still to be done. James Allison, technical director: we had a good feeling with the car yesterday, although the sessions were somewhat disturbed by the weather conditions, and that was truly underlined this afternoon with extremely solid performances from both cars in qualifying. One of the nice things about motor racing is the way that it offers a chance of redemption at every Grand Prix. After the difficulties we encountered in Sepang, we have come here and demonstrated in the most eloquent way possible that we mean business here in Suzuka. We know that we have to do it all again tomorrow, but this gives us the best possible starting point for that challenge. Red Bull: Lars Berengetti. Image. Daniel Ricciardo, fourth. Once again it was pretty close between myself and Max today. I got the half a tenth on Max this time and had it on me in qualifying in the last few races. It was pretty important to be ahead, and I will start third now because of Bottas' penalty, which puts me on the cleaner side of the grid, so thank you, Valtteri. I will take everything I can for now, and I'm happy with that result. I had a slightly different setup from Max today and chose to remove some downforce, which I hope will help me in the race. I haven't seen Lewis' lap yet, but I've seen his time and we can't quite do that. I think we feel we got pretty much everything out of the car today, and we definitely couldn't find a second. We will see what tomorrow brings, but I think if we can stay in a podium position, we will be leaving here pretty happy. The start will be really important for us. It's a pretty tricky track to overtake on, and strategy is likely to play into it, but if I can get them on the start, then hopefully that will be where I stay. I hope I get my first Suzuka podium. It's always been a fun track, but I've never stood on the podium, so that's my target. Max Verstappen, fifth at WASNT. An ideal qualifying session for me. Q1 and Q2 went well, but then we tried a few changes for Q3 which put me out of my rhythm a bit. The time was still okay, but I think I could have got a bit more out of it at the end. It was a better second-timed lap, but I think I could have finished a position higher. It was very tight. The new cars mean higher corner speed, which at this track essentially means some corners turn into longer straights. It's a bit more physical and obviously means faster lap times. This also means it is a tougher track for us than in the years before. I think the Mercedes race pace is kicked, but we are unsure of how Ferrari are looking. Tomorrow will tell. We gain one spot with Bottas' penalty, so all we can do is fight and try to progress from P4. I would like rain, but that isn't going to happen, so hopefully with the dry weather we have good degradation and can challenge for a good result. Daniel and I are running different configurations tomorrow, so we will have to see how they play come the race. I hope that people in front make turn 1 interesting tomorrow, but not for me. I like sandwiches but not on the track. Christian Horner, Team Principal A. Pretty straightforward qualifying for our guys today. Daniel and Max delivered 2 very clean laps, trying slightly different setups going into the race. With the penalties for Bottas and Raikkonen, this results in them lining up in 3rd and 4th on the grid for tomorrow's Grand Prix. This circuit presents challenges to our car comparative to some of our competitors, particularly in qualifying, but we will take some confidence going into tomorrow's race that we can be competitive. Ferrari sudden image Sebastian Vettel, 3rd. I think the car was very good today, Seb said, and I was happy with it, but it was just not enough for pole position. In my last run, I tried to push maybe a little too much, knowing that Valtteri wasn't a threat because of his grid penalty, but it didn't work. But overall, our car was fine. Tomorrow is supposed to be sunny and hot, which makes the difference, and then we'll see. We normally have a stronger car in the race than in quali. It's important to have a good balance here, and then you can always try something with the stops. Also, I am confident we should have a good start, and that is important, but after that there are a lot of laps and strategy is important as well. In terms of pace, hopefully we should be closer to our competitors. We'll see tomorrow. Kimi Raikkonen, 6, will start 10th. It was not a great start of the day to go off track this morning in P3, not the ideal preparation for qualifying. After that, everything got more difficult, but the team did a great job to get the car back in one piece. In qualifying the car felt okay, but it was a bit tricky. The biggest issue was the limited running we had with new tires in the morning. In Q3, when I really had to push, I made a mistake in the first run and I had a pretty average lap time in the second one. Now I pay the price of my mistake. After my crash, we've got a 5 places penalty for replacing the gearbox. This obviously complicates our race even more. Tomorrow it's not going to be easy, but I think that we have a good car for the race. Force India sudden image Esteban Ocon, 7th. I'm feeling very happy after qualifying. The car has been fantastic since the beginning of the weekend, just as it was in Malaysia, and our result today shows the progress we have made recently developing the car. Whether it's been wet or dry, the car has been quick, and we've only had to make small adjustments to find the performance. With some penalties for other drivers, it looks as though I will start the race from 5th place, so there's a great opportunity to score some big points. Sergio Perez, 8th. It's been a really good qualifying session for us. The team did a great job despite the limited running, splitting the practice program between both cars to find the best setup. I believe we maximized the potential of the car and got the best result we could today, so I am happy. My final lap in Q3 was good. I lost a little bit of time in the final chicane and that cost me a place to Esteban. He's done a really good job all weekend and together we have delivered an important qualifying result for the team. We were expecting a bigger fight in the midfield, but I am pleased we were this far ahead of our rivals and close to the Red Bulls. Tomorrow will be a long race, but I think we can score a lot of points because our race pace is good. Robert Friendly, Deputy Team Principal. A very strong qualifying session with both drivers delivering on the promise we showed during practice. The car has been competitive all weekend and it's further validation of the excellent work we have done lately to keep pushing the development of the VJM10. With a couple of grid penalties for the cars ahead of us, we should move up on the grid with both cars and it means we are very well placed to score well tomorrow. Williams Mark Thompson Getty Images Felipe Massa, 9th. I'm so happy with my qualifying. Q1 was a good lap, Q2 was a great lap, and Q3 was just a perfect lap, so I'm really happy with my result. We're starting in a great position and you never know what can happen tomorrow in the race. We'll try to get the best we can in terms of points. My lap time today was similar to when I was on pole in 2006, just the perfect lap, which gives you a lot of pleasure, so I'm happy with that. Lance Stroll, 18th. That was not a good session. I didn't get a lap time as I was blocked on both my push laps by Perez and Gasly in the last chicane, and then we got the red flag, so I never got a time and there was no chance to make Q2. But that is how it goes and there is nothing I can do about it now. We were just unlucky with the traffic. The car felt good all weekend, so it's frustrating, but tomorrow is another day and with the penalties we will make up a couple of places. But that is not how we want to gain places. We want to show the potential of the car, which we didn't do in that session. Paddy Lowe, Chief Technical Officer. There was one good story, and one not so good story today, unfortunately. It was a great job by Felipe. He drove some terrific laps throughout the 3 sessions to put the car in P9. We weren't as quick as any of the cars ahead, so we couldn't have expected anything better than that, so well done to him. On Lance's side, the real damage was done by the red flag, which prevented him from doing a second run, where I'm sure he could have showed much stronger pace than he did on his first set of tires. It's the 3rd session this weekend. Both cars have been foiled at the start of their fast laps by red flags, so it's just one of those things. With the various grid adjustments, we will end up further forward for tomorrow. Even from Lance's starting position, points are possible, so we will see what we can do with both drivers. McLaren Sutton Image's Fernando Alonso, 10th, will start 20th. Knowing that we'd be starting last after changing the engine last night meant qualifying wasn't too important for us. Still, despite the penalty, we wanted to have a normal qualifying session and push. We have so many fans here, so many Honda supporters, and I think we succeeded and did a decent job. Of course, the race will be much different. Starting from the back it'll be quite difficult to gain any advantage, but we'll try to do the best we can to close up to the top 10. Points would have been a difficult target even on a normal weekend, but since we're starting last, on a track with so many high-speed corners where you can't easily follow the cars in front, we'll need a lot of action in front of us if we want to make up some positions. Stoffel Vandoorne, 11th. That was actually a pretty good session for me. Not getting through into Q3 isn't actually that bad because it means I can start the race on a new tire tomorrow. Starting from 9th is pretty decent, and on a new tire, it should make for a good day. The limited running we've had so far this weekend has been the same for everyone, but we're usually pretty strong at working out what the tires are going to do, how long they're going to last, and how to manage them efficiently. We'll definitely be looking to benefit from that tomorrow. It still looks quite hard to decide between a 1 and 2 stop strategy, so we'll also try to use that to our advantage. We're not in a bad place. We can definitely race from this position. Eric Boulier, McLaren Honda Racing Director. Once again, it's encouraging to see both drivers fighting for position on the fringes of the top 10. It shows the progress we've made this year to be in the thick of it. It's also gratifying to see how closely matched our drivers are. Fernando and Stoffel were split by just 0.029s at the end of Q2, so it's pretty evident that neither is leaving much out there on track. By lining up 9th, but with the benefit of choosing his starting tire for the race, Stoffel is perfectly placed for an advantageous strategy tomorrow. He's driven extremely well all weekend, and this is a solid underlining of his pace. With a 35-place grid penalty, Fernando was always limited by what he could ultimately achieve in qualifying. But 10th position was a nice reward for us all. He'll be starting at the back tomorrow, but he's famously done that before at Suzuka and stunned everyone with his pace. At this place, you wouldn't rule out something similar happening tomorrow. Anything can happen around here. Yasuke Hasegawa, Honda Road Co. Limited head of F1 Project Executive Chief Engineer. Thankfully the heavy showers we had yesterday stopped overnight, and we had drying, almost sunny, conditions throughout today. Both drivers did a good job today in qualifying, and Fernando succeeded to go through to Q3 while Stoffel secured P11, just missing out on Q3. As for Fernando, we detected hydraulic issue on his PU yesterday after the session, and we decided to change his PU overnight. It is disappointing that we'll now start our home Grand Prix from the back of the grid due to the penalties incurred for the change. However, the setup of both cars has gone well, and I am hopeful for a good performance tomorrow. Furthermore, Stoffel has a strong history around this track, winning last year in the Japanese Super Formula Series, and I'm sure Fernando will show his usual determination and fight his way through the pack. We will do our best job tomorrow for all of our fantastic fans, and hopefully we can reward their support with a nice haul of points. Toro Rosso Satoshi Fumiki Tamara BGT Image Carlos Sainz, 15th, will start 19th. The results on the timesheet look worse than what it really is, because in Q2 we decided not to run any new tires. We only went out on the ones used in Q1. The reason for this is that we want to have all the strategic options available to As for tomorrow as well, be starting from the very back of the grid due to the grid penalty. So today's Q2 was a bit weird. We used it just to do some practice starts and ran on the used tires. Not what we're used to doing, therefore, it's a qualifying I didn't really enjoy, but it was a sacrifice thinking about tomorrow, when I'll appreciate it more than now. Hopefully we can have a good race and perform another good comeback using the new tires still available from today. Pierre Gasly, 17th. How annoying. Today's WASNT a good qualifying for me. I had quite a big moment during my best lap in Q1 and I locked the car in the first sector, almost going off track. Luckily I finished the lap, but at WASNT a clean one. I expected to improve quite a lot in my second run, but in the end we didn't get this opportunity because of the session being red flagged. So I'm disappointed about the final result because we had the potential to get into Q2. Hopefully tomorrow we can have a good race and I can manage the tires well, extract the most out of the car and see where we end up. Jody Eganton, head of vehicle performance, with dry running a bit limited on Friday. Both engineering crews had limited data but very clear feedback from both drivers on what was required in terms of car balance. It's fair to say that a good direction was found for the setup and, as such, both drivers were happier with their cars by the end of FP3, covering their programs containing both long and shorter runs, while using the soft and super soft compounds. We headed into qualifying with a clear picture on balance requirements for the race and also qualifying itself, but with the 20-place penalty for Carlos due to a poo change, we decided to allocate less sets to qualifying in order to keep race strategy options open. That's why his final lap time was not representative of the ultimate pace of him or his STR12. With Pierre, the plan was for a more conventional qualifying, but, unfortunately, with the snap in S1 on his first lap and the red flag on his second run, he was not able to bring it all together and also his lap time was not representative. We know there was potential for him to be much quicker, which is impressive given that he is driving in only his second GP weekend and has not been able to run a full dry program here. Together with his engineers, he is still fine-tuning his baseline setup. As you would expect, we are not happy with our grid positions, but, importantly, we know there is a good opportunity tomorrow, so, as always, tonight we'll be focused on formulating the strategy options ahead of the race in order to ensure we maximize any opportunities that may present themselves in the race. The target is still to score points in what is going to be a very tight midfield battle. Hassan Image. Kevin Magnussen, 13th. We have been stronger this weekend. The car, right away on Friday, felt better, more alive. That's partly due to the track temperatures being down, so the tires are working a bit better, or at least it's easier to make them work without overheating them. If you're behind on downforce or grip, they don't overheat as much when it's cold, like it is here. That's pushed us a little bit closer to the midfield. We expected to be P16, P17 in qualifying, and I'm P13, to eventually become P12 for tomorrow. So, I can't be too unhappy with that. When it's close like that though, you'd like that last bit, so it's a bit frustrating not to get there. We're still close to the points tomorrow. We'll see if we can get in and score a few. Romain Grosjean, 16th. I'm okay. The first run was actually really good. I had a big moment into turn 11, which lost me a lot of time on Kevin. So, I think the car was capable of going into the top 10 in Q1. I went for the second run, doing pretty much the same thing, and the car just had a lot of oversteer for no reason. We need to analyze that. For sure, I attacked turn 3 a bit faster than I had on the previous lap, but nothing crazy. I just lost it there and tried to save what I could for turn 4, but it was too late. I tried to keep it on track as much as I could, to avoid a crash, but I lost it a second time and had to go wide. Once I was on the grass, it was wet, so it threw me into the barrier. Gunther Steiner, team principal. A tough day again, but it looks like Kevin is starting 12th tomorrow. That's not a bad position to start here. We have to see with Romain just how big the damage is on his car and if we need to change something that will give us a penalty. Otherwise, a tough, long day for the whole team. It doesn't seem that luck is on our side at the moment, but it will turn. We just have to look up and get ready for the race tomorrow, and try to at least get one car into the points. Renault Sutton Image. Nico Hülkenberg, 12th. We struggled in qualifying and the car balance just wasn't there, in particular with oversteer in the first sector. Generally, in qualifying you improve, but this time it wasn't coming to us, so a top 10 position slipped through our fingers. It's not going to be easy tomorrow as the midfield is a competitive place to be. It wasn't the qualifying we hoped for. It's going to be hard work, but we just need to do a good job to recover tomorrow. The package is good, and if we can have a good start, everything is at play for the race. We can still score points. Julian Palmer, 14th, will start 18th. Qualifying was okay, but the overall pace was a little disappointing for the team. The first run in Q2 went well and we were just out of the top 10, but on the second run, the car was sliding a bit and we couldn't improve. The track was getting better, so when you don't improve, you fall down a long way. It's a shame, but we have to start at the back of the grid. I think we have more pace than the guys in front, so it can be a fun race. Sauber Sutton Image. Marcus Ericsson, 19th. It was a decent qualifying for me. We made improvements from session to season, so we were able to come a bit closer to the competition. The end of Q1 was a bit disappointing. We were pushing on the last try when the session was interrupted by the red flag. Overall, I am pleased with my performance in qualifying today. Pascal Wehrlein, 20th overall. I did not feel fully comfortable in the car today compared to yesterday. I am not satisfied with the balance of the car yet, and we are looking at the data to understand the causes. As for my qualifying, it is a shame about the red flag at the end of Q1. Obviously, I would have liked to complete my final try and improve my lap time. I am focusing on tomorrow now, and will give all I can during the race. Pirelli. Mario Isola, head of car racing. Hamilton's remarkable lap, which obliterates the previous all-time Suzuka record, has underlined the pace of the latest generation Formula One car and tires, even though preparation for the race has been interrupted by weather and red flags up until now. Pole this year was in fact 3.3 seconds faster than 2016, with the tires performing perfectly. We would expect 2 pit stops for most drivers in the race tomorrow, as this is one of the circuits that takes the most energy out of the tires of the entire year. Already we've seen some tactics in qualifying, with 2 of the drivers carrying grid penalties opting to start on the soft tires. This should allow them to gain track position by running a longer first stint than their direct rivals. Last weekend in Malaysia proved that, with the right strategy, it's still possible to get a good result even starting from the back.